So in trying to understand how this very simple but sophisticated structure works, this schema structure, we'll start with the hierarchy. And I want you to look at the image that's on your paper. It has a picture of the schema in it, and it also has a picture of an instance that implements a hierarchy using this structure. Okay, so we see the root node, the 1, and we see that we have a term on line 2 that's called the root term. That's its ID, and it's called animals of the world. Okay, notice it has no relationships. That is why we have it as the root. It's the one to which everything else is going to be related, but it itself has not been explicitly related in the schema. Okay, so term root is animals of the world. Then on line 3 we have the term Africa, which has a title of African animals. Now notice, by the way, that the titles, animals of the world and African animals, are not in their own element. They're in the term element. So this is saying the term is animals of the world, its ID is root. Okay, no need to have a separate title or name element under the term in order to have it have a name. We just assume that the name is in the term element itself, and that makes the term element mixed because it has a name and it also has sub-elements. Right? So our term element is mixed, and its value is going to be the name. And that's kind of by convention or definition, not because we put it in an element that's called name. Okay, we have the root term called animals of the world. On line 3 we have a term called Africa, and its name is African animals. That's the value of the term node, and it has one relationship. The relationship ref ID is parent, and the referent is root. Referent is the term I'm pointing to. I'm on the term Africa, and I'm pointing to the term root. So I'm saying here that there's some relationship between root and Africa. And now in the term ref ID, I specify the nature of that relationship. And by a clever trick of choosing my IDs correctly, I've made this instance readable. The term ref ID is parent. Now you can just kind of glance at that and say, oh, I see. The root is the parent of the Africa term, just by looking at the values that are inside of those ref IDs. But remember that it's a ref ID, it's not a name. That's not the name of the relationship. That is a reference to the node that contains the name of the relationship. So I have to scan down here, and I see on line 12 I have a term called parent. That's ID of parent. And here's the name of the relationship. Referent is one level higher in a hierarchy. So I've defined parent in the text there. Reference is one level. I've given the parent an ID, so it's easy to refer to in other terms. Okay, so I've created an abstraction here. By the way, that term parent can also point to other things. So the name of the relationship can have relationships to other things. So I'm hoping you see that the possibilities are endless for defining things and having them relate to other things, and that's the power of this schema. So going further, I have now on line 6 the term Savannah, and that's the ID of the term. The name of the term is Animals of the Savannah, and it has a parent relationship to Africa. So now I have, in fact, a second level relationship. Term Africa is related in a hierarchy or a parent relationship with term root. The term Savannah is related to Africa in the parent relationship, in the relationship also called parent. And then finally on line 10, I have aardvark. Aardvark is related in that same parent relationship to Savannah. Okay, so I have a 3-level hierarchy. I have Savannah, one level up from, I have aardvark, one level up from aardvark is Savannah, one level up from Savannah is Africa, one level up from Africa is root. So I've created this hierarchy. And I think you can see by extension that I can create any number of levels to the hierarchy that I want. I can have any number of children under the hierarchy that I want. And so I've implemented now a hierarchy using this very simple schema. But also I think you can see that this is even more sophisticated than any of the hierarchies that we've studied before in terms of its easy understandability. So as usual, we trade flexibility for understandability, but we do get a hierarchy here. We are able to construct this hierarchy using this very simple, very abstract